Hey everyone, welcome to another live streaming Friday. I can't say Facebook Live anymore because we're live on Facebook and LinkedIn and to my little old YouTube channel. If you are tuning in, welcome, accidental techie, working hard at the nonprofit organizations, trying to get it done with nothing. And so you are here with me. My name is Maureen. I am a nonprofit digital strategist and technology coach. And just about every Friday afternoon at 12:30 Eastern, I do a live streaming session and I bring the heat. And today we are bringing the heat. I am so excited to be having this conversation today with Tim Sarantonio from Neon One. Tim, how's Friday treating you today?
Well, now it's good. Now it's good. And I forgot my pronouns. I got to get the pronouns in there. I got to start doing
Excellent.
that by
Hey, it's
default.
never too late to correct yourself. Never too late.
It's always time for learning. So that's
That's
what I'm
right.
excited about. Folks, if the hat gets distracting, please let us know in the comments. I'm speaking to you from upstate New York from and I'm Tim Sarantonio from Neon One. Yeah, it's a good day. It's October 1st. It's an amazing day if we're going to be
It
honest.
is. And, it's a day that brings a little like, to nonprofit fundraisers,
Well,
because
yes.
truly, in a minute, we're going to dig into Tim's thoughts and advice and some things that will help you really focus your energy and attention, limited though it may be, on the right things as you're really tying up your end of year plan or dusting off last year's, trying to figure out what you need to change for 2021.
Yep.
Tim, want to say a little bit about your background? It's quite diverse, and a little bit about Neon One.
Absolutely. Thank you, Maureen, for having me on the stream today. Excited to be spending some time with you on Friday. I am a fundraiser by trade, but an academic by debt. So I was going to school. I thought I was going to be a labor historian, and then I said, you know what? I'm not. I didn't get into any programs, so how about I do the obvious thing and go into nonprofits as a grant writer? And that was in 2008. So then, very quickly pivoting over to individual giving because the economy fell out, I then learned how to do things like annual funds and events and a lot of trial by error, a lot of cobbling together tech solutions, and then eventually was able to raise for a Catholic school, for instance, in Chicago, $1 million for their annual fund yearly with healthy percentage growth using the Razor's Edge system. And then after that, I popped on over to this little company called Neon and basically have seen it grown over the 10 years. I'm going to celebrate my 10th year in November next month. A decade in nonprofit tech. So Neon One has grown from that little company into something that services thousands of organizations with a wide variety of technology, helping surround the CRM. So things like events, communications, peer-to-peer fundraising, large-scale enterprise giving days that help small nonprofits. These are all things that are kind of around that universe for small to mid-sized nonprofits in particular.
Beautiful. And that's where our paths first crossed in the very early days of Neon as a company, probably like at a NTC somewhere in the
Something
DC
like that.
area.
I
Maybe,
know
yeah,
when
like that.
conferences were in person and the chicken was cold.
Remember that? Oh, skipping that crappy lunch.
I know, and going to the actual restaurant.
And speaking of conferences, you've got a great one coming up in just a couple of weeks. Want to say a little bit about the Generosity Exchange?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I can go into. I actually need to understand how the chat works over here for stuff. Maybe you can help me out with that. But we have a fantastic virtual conference on October 13th and 14th. We have hundreds of nonprofit professionals already signed up, and 2 days of sessions that will dive into wide variety of things. You can go to a lot of different places for like general best practices. So what we want to do is, especially if you out there are using Neon One technology, such as our CRM, you have to go to this. But even if you don't use our stuff, we're trying to do a lot of really awesome things. So we have an entire panel on the future of nonprofit work with people like Ian Adair, Maddie Grant, Nikki McCord, Crystal Cherry. So that's really awesome. We just recorded a discussion on demand with Mallory Erickson and Kashana
Mm,
Palmer on the
wow.
future of kind of where women and the workplace has changed and how that will change. Um, and we have some really awesome, like big, cool things too. So our friends at Visa are actually bringing Noah Lyles, the bronze medalist from Tokyo. He will be talking about his nonprofit, the Lyles Foundation. Um, because I personally I hate keynotes where it's like, how do you have a connection to like any of this type of stuff? And so we insisted they have to have a nonprofit, and we need to talk about things that are not toxic positivity,
Yeah.
where it's just like if you can just do anything that you set your mind to it. Like he talked about mental health. He's going to talk about collaboration, community, but
Mhm.
then we're ending things with um, a talk with, and especially if anybody is on TikTok, you might know her, Amani Barberin,
Mm,
Crutches and Spice. She's a cerebral palsy activist, disability activist. And she's going to be having a conversation with Denise Barato, who heads up Cook County's diversity
mhm,
work. But they all have worked with nonprofits. But there's a lot of great product and tech stuff too. We're going to talk about email, peer to peer, KPIs. So I'm going to drop, with Maureen's help, a free enhanced ticket for everybody
mhm.
watching the stream here for that. So, and that's
You should
October
be
13th, 14th.
able, you should be, do you have a chat panel,
I
Tim?
got private chat, but
Okay,
comments,
private
private
chat me
chat it.
and then I'll push it out.
Thank you. There
Okay,
you go. That's the ticket. The non Bitly, the non,
we
you know,
got it. We got
you
it.
know,
The name of nonprofit tech is Make It Work, subtitle.
make it work. There you go. And actually, the theme is make it easy for the conference. So,
Oh, yeah. And it sounds like it's a bit about our industry and our tools and the stuff that we all do every day, but then our whole selves and where we as an industry and as people kind of plug into the bigger picture, right?
absolutely, I feel that we need to make connections between these. If you
Mhm.
create a even a mental silo of the tools are over there and my work is over here, then both are going to suffer. Actually, so that's kind of the idea.
Hmm. Well, I can't wait to dip into all of that great content and see what you guys always pull off really great things. So
Well,
thank
thank you,
you.
thank you,
Thank
and we'll
you.
we'll make sure to. I know we were doing this, but we'll make sure to work together with you for more stuff too.
Oh yeah, it's just the beginning. It's not
So
even the
what
beginning.
do people want to talk about today? I'm looking at the comments in the chat. What do people worry? Are
Mhm.
we're going to talk about end of year
We're going to talk
technology?
about focus on end of year. So, people right now are even more exhausted than they were last end of year. We were hoping we were going to come out of it. We're maybe not quite out of it or half in, half out, depending on the day and where you live.
Yep.
And I think everybody is sort of looking at their stuff, whether it's collateral or timing of messages or message content or what they offer as an interface for people to give or reconnect or get involved. As always, there's a lot of really great choices and ideas floating around out there. Could do this, could do that.
Yep.
But especially the small to mid-size organizations and teams can't do it all. So the goal for today is to pick your brain or get you to expound on end of year focus. Like, where can I get the most bang for my buck? And how should I know whether this is maybe a tactic that I should use? So, first of all, though, for you, Tim, is a successful end of year? What goes into calling an end of year campaign a success over and above like money?
Yeah, and I think that's the key here, because about 28% of nonprofits are going to raise half their revenue in the industry from an end of the year appeal in terms of their annual giving goals, their individual giving
Mhm.
goals rather. So it can represent a lot of items from the technology or from the revenue standpoint, right? So thank you for popping that out there. And so the concern I have though is people get so wrapped up in the transaction piece there that they don't build a longer revenue strategy. Like I almost want to, and I literally wrote a book for us back in the day called The Fundraiser's Guide to the Annual Fund. I kind of want to get rid of the term annual fund.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and I'm definitely going to read Rebecca's comment in just a
Mhm.
moment, but like, if people are laying the groundwork for one being able to hit the goals that they set for themselves that are realistic for not just the year but for the quarter, because a lot of money does come in, about a third comes
Yeah.
in historically in December,
Mhm.
12% of that in the last few days of the year, because a lot of folks are going to send in those checks.
Yeah.
If you can hit those goals realistically enough, that's then feel good about yourself. But what we should do is shift into a multi-year strategy where you should be focusing on things like your retention rates overall.
Mhm.
If we're increasing two key performance indicators that the Fundraising Effectiveness Project helps track, and that's the largest analysis of individual giving in the world, and that's Bloomerang, Donor Perfect,
Every
us,
bit. Yeah.
Keela. Like it's
Mhm.
it's platform agnostic
Yep.
in many ways, and so, and there's more coming in too. We have plans there. Um, Retention is important. So people coming back and continuing to support you at all revenue levels is a good indicator there. The other is overall growth in giving. So that means the number of people or revenue that you're losing. And you can have donor growth in giving and fundraising dollars growth in giving. So people, money, difference. If your revenue goes down, obviously, then you need to dig in there. But if you do see a positive revenue growth for growth and giving, where it's like we made basically, it's not profit loss. There's a difference here.
Mhm.
It's not just like, well, we had one $50,000 check and that put us over the edge. Yeah, but if that goes away,
Yeah. What's it
then that's
really
a
look
concern.
like? Mhm.
Exactly. So you got to dig into it. So let me look at. So I would say a successful one is you're seeing um, strong retention rates.
Mhm.
That's a good thing. If you look at the end of the year and it's January 1st, and you look at your retention rates and you're above 45% across the board,
Mhm.
you're beating the industry, right? You can drill into that more. I feel that especially during COVID times, and especially during the more comfort people have with digital giving, that if
Mhm.
you're also increasing your recurring giving program, that's a big win. If you see the number of people giving a monthly gift to you, that's good. We actually did a study that we're going to put out by December, along with a larger donor behavior report,
Mhm.
but this is going to be a subset that we did with the University of Dallas, where we analyzed 6.4 million transaction records, just recurring. You can reliably say that those are going to be credit card.
Yeah.
So if you're optimizing your digital process, push people toward recurring giving.
Mhm.
Apple Wallet, Google Pay, that type of stuff, ACH, even larger numbers are coming in there. So that's what I would say. Let's see what Rebecca said though. We've done so much.
So much additional fundraising around COVID-19 needs, how to make a case for end of year giving on top of what we've already been soliciting, or how to bring these things together into one ask.
So there's some encouraging data here, Rebecca. So first and foremost, within going back to just recurring giving as an example, there's been studies that have been done that say that recurring givers, for instance, are a percentage of them, even though they're giving monthly, like we're talking at least 12%, something like that, are
Mhm.
going to feel comfortable enough to give on top of that. And also the inverse is that being asked doesn't mean that the other 80 or so percent go away. It just means that they don't upgrade or do something
Mhm.
extra. So that means that the people who are most passionate about you, and we have to kind of break, Rebecca, I would say this: if we break our donor elements and donor interactions into base personas of people, and tech can help with this, good copywriting can help with
Mhm.
this, all of these things, because we all have to be basically Renaissance people, you know,
Yeah.
psychologists, economists, marketers, that's
Technologists. Yeah.
technologists,
Mhm.
um, there's three different kind of identities that people are going to act on for why they're going to give for you. So what you're worried about is the first group, which is the kind of accidental people where it's like they're reacting in the experience. They gave maybe because they were asked during COVID. Then the second group of people are ones that you can probably feel comfortable talking with. And those are people who have given to you for a few years, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe small amounts. And that's because they identify with the organization. They
Yeah.
say, I love, Rebecca's nonprofit, whatever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
Then the final group is the gold standard. And these are the people that they step back and they flip the identity, and it's they see themselves in your organization. It's not that they like your organization, it's that they are
Part of it. Yeah.
part of it. The Institute of Sustainable Philanthropy has a course on philanthropic psychology that identifies the kind of the main groupings and identities. And if you can sink into somebody's true self,
Mm-hmm.
like and even it's your copy, your language, look at the way that you communicate with people. So even if you say something like, instead of your end of the year gift saying thank you for your generous gift at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
change it to you are a generous person because of your end
Yeah.
of the year gift. Just
Yeah.
that little tweak that can go
The
into your
key right there.
automated receipt.
Yeah, right.
you start to turn you start to turn why people are with you. So
Yeah.
I don't worry about that. Donor fatigue doesn't exist. Donor
Oh my
fatigue does
gosh.
not
I've
exist.
got to I've got to get some panel together to debate that topic like that. I can think of three people off the top of my head who would have opinions that they want to share about that. Rebecca, the other thing I'll tack on to Tim's wise advice and counsel is, even if you want to do something simple, if you can segment those folks, right? Like they've already given to our COVID appeals, and just send them a message that says maybe it's because you're a generous person, or at the very least you're acknowledging that you know that they've already supported you this year. Donors expect, reasonable or not, that you are paying attention to what every single one of them does all the time. That's what data tracking has taught us, is like, you, Rebecca, should see that I actually gave twice this year, and you, Rebecca, need to name that in your end of year appeal. So if you can pull those people together who have given in whatever 12 months or whatever campaign calendar time frame you're thinking about, that would be a bonus. Tim, I want to also ask you, as we're talking about planning and focus, you talked about a focus on sustaining giving, which I agree with and think anytime you can get somebody to convert or start as a sustainer, the better off everybody is.
Yep.
But I've worked with organizations in the past who felt like they actually would not meet their end of year goal if sustaining donations were part of their ask for end of year. So instead of getting 100, I'm going to get a first gift of 12. And they really wanted that bigger dollar gift to come in so that they could say they hit their end of year fundraising goals. What's your thought about that?
I think that goes back to why I think we need to kill the annual fund as a concept, because
Yeah.
that what that does is potentially shoot you in the foot for not building a long-term relationship with these folks.
Super short-sighted is my thought.
Not only short-sighted, but also flying in the face of donor behavior, because the folks who are going to give larger amounts have a behavioral distinction between also the sustaining givers. And
Mm-hmm.
so the reality is that the retention rates on sustaining givers are in the 80 to 90% range, versus a first, let's say you get that first time gift that's $1,200. The benchmark data in the industry shows that 19% of those people will come back and almost everybody else will leave. So instead of guaranteeing yourself a lifetime value
Yeah.
of thousands, you got that $1,000, $1,200 check, and you're one and done.
And
And
they're churned, and you're desperately looking for another one like that.
you
Yeah.
turned and burned. And Jim Greenfield studied this back in the 90s, and it still holds true that And it's from, again, I have like a veritable library of these things. So that's
I believe you.
I'm quoting second edition fundraising fundamentals. Any sign there?
Copyright, yeah. So
So
what about
but
smaller ones?
$1.25 for every dollar that you acquire. It's a sunk
That
cost.
adds up hugely.
Yep.
So what about, I mean, your company works primarily, not always, with smaller, mid-size organizations where it's we might have staffing gaps right now. There's a lot of
Yep.
fundraising and marketing open seats right now
Yep.
at all sizes of organizations. What's the bare minimum that a team has to be able to put together and pull off to feel like it's successful? And successful, yes. Long term look, successful, yes. Hit our target or met benchmarks, and successful didn't kill my team.
Yeah. I think it would be helpful to start building in those mental health metrics and employee
Yeah.
retention metrics, you
Mhm.
know? That's not built into the software or anything like that, but like maybe it should be. Take note,
It's an
product team.
attribute. It's an attribute, Tim.
It's an attribute. I know. Well, maybe if hey, Noah from Virtuous, don't steal that idea if you're watching. So, but so the vast majority of organizations start their planning now, like
Mhm.
in October. We're talking 53.8%, if I remember correctly. And so a success, and I did that when I was at my annual appeal job for the Catholic school in Chicago. We'd start now, and you'd have to engage people a few times. So even going back to Rebecca's concern, I have a feeling that part of the fear there is a little uncertainty. And again, Rebecca, you can ding me on LinkedIn or on Twitter and just be like, you're wrong, man. You don't know me. But like, I'm having a feeling that part of it is a little bit of uncertainty about communication.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's that we feel an alienation, if you will, with our donors, because we don't really understand them and we don't know what they're up to and what they're thinking. And I feel that like true connected fundraisers have that context of what's happening in their donor community, and that's because they have a good communication cadence. Even data that just dropped from Bank of America and the Lilly School on affluent donors contributing during the pandemic, like we're talking, this is just came out.
Mm.
Communications are some of the highest cited items of why somebody continued to say,
Yes.
you know what, no
Yeah.
thank you, I don't want to support you. Yet
Mhm.
the ones that are cultivated and communicated with, and this can be through automation, this can be through good old analog coffee meetings, right, like in
Pick up
person.
the phone. Yeah.
Pick up the
Mhm.
phone. It doesn't have to be a Twilio SMS fired thing. Like you can just pick up the phone and call somebody, and that can go a lot. That can go a long way, because even to convert the typical major donor into something on the high transaction side, maybe $1,000 and above, it's going to take several touch points to do that.
Mhm.
So don't don't beat yourself up if you can't get to it. A successful campaign will be one that lays the groundwork for year-round success. That's really
Mhm.
what we should be aiming for, and then sink into those few giving moments. Things like Giving Tuesday, things like end of year. Maybe you have a local community giving day.
Mhm.
Map those highs and lows. I think it's always unrealistic for us to
Yeah.
think that it's going to be like it's awesome all the time, like everything's awesome, like the Lego movie, right? Like no, it's not. You're going to have dips. The data is very clear. We're we're even seeing that now. I'm gonna drop some fun random knowledge on you though.
I'm ready. I think we're ready. What do you got?
We did an analysis, for instance, of all our online gifts that have been started happening through the pandemic,
Mhm.
and I asked, what time of day and what day a week do people give?
What do you got? Oh my gosh. This is
I
gonna
have it. I have it. So what do you think? And let's see, if you're listening, I want to see that people are alive in the comments. When do you think, what day of the week and what time of the day are people most likely to give online?
um I say Sunday afternoon, evening.
See, I
That's
had
my
that
guess.
theory, Maureen. I had that theory too, because I thought it was guilt giving after a weekend of drinking.
That's not my reality. I
It's
just
not
thought,
my reality either, but I was like,
when do I do that stuff? Like
mhm.
when is there space in the week and energy in my brain to do that stuff? So that's what I would think. What'd you find out, Tim?
It's actually Thursday at 11 a.m.
It's going to be the new email send day and
I
time.
know that's like I did say, can we go back and look at our email like sends and into Friday afternoon? Here I am. See, Rebecca? Yeah, see. And Rebecca, actually Friday afternoon not bad, and those are high. Like weekdays are good. It drops pretty heavily, but Maureen, there is a noticeable spike on Sunday at 8:30. Now these are central
Really?
time. These are central times. So that'll be in the donor report that we're releasing along
So
with
exciting.
I'm actually having us pull IP addresses on where
Mhm.
donors are located and if they're giving in-state or out-state. We're going to look at mission. I just had us pull revenue numbers
Mm,
because I'm also trying to see like revenue versus income on the 990. So this is
yeah.
all coming thanks to our friends at Visa, who also gave us some really interesting data too.
So cool.
Yeah,
So listen, what's your crystal ball say? Like you've talked a lot about what people should be doing. And Rebecca, I'll get to your comment in a sec, but I want Tim to know he's got all this data, he's
yeah, I know.
parsing it, it's all the Borg, development Borg is all happening.
Yep.
What's your crystal ball say end of year 2021 is gonna shake out like?
Oh, it's all Twitch. No, I'm
Say
kidding.
more.
I'm kidding. No. And I love Twitch donations. I think it's interesting happening there. What's going to shake out? Um, I think that so what happened, and we saw this in spring giving days. So let's even take North Texas Giving Day, that
Okay.
just happened within the last 2 weeks. That day has continued to grow, and we even did a presentation for Good Tech Fest, me and the product manager TJ Bowen for that, and they did
Mhm.
$66 million in an 18-hour period for four things. Now this is why I'm bullish on what we're going to see for end of the year.
Okay.
In the first time of that Giving Day's history, every single nonprofit received a donation. Over 3,300 nonprofits
Wow.
got money
Wow.
by participating. First time in the history. A lot of it's being driven by peer to peer. A lot of things are being driven by an increased comfort with online. I
For sure.
still have a healthy skepticism of digital only strategy.
Agree. Agree.
Anybody who tells you, first of all, beware year over year growth metrics when you see them from vendors, because if they're
You
starting
got
from zero, then that 77% growth rate is not as impressive. Like, do I
No,
love
and I'm a digital first person, and
but
direct mail will all in my lifetime will always be the big bringer of gifts. Always.
you know what I used to think was stupid and now I'm a huge fan? QR codes.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
fan. I got a mail piece from the Red Cross, and this goes to a little bit to Rebecca's question, which is please communicate with your team
Mhm,
basically. Like the effectiveness is going to come that you're all on the same page in terms of your alignment between
mhm.
marcoms and development. You should
Yeah.
be working lockstep in your branding and your messaging and your alignment, and from end to end
Collaboration is
collaboration.
huge.
And with finance, when all that comes in, everybody, come together and go, what are we all like? What's our three main goals that we're all going to do? And then what are the outcomes that we're expecting to reach those, right?
Yeah.
Map that. Yeah, I got a piece from the Red Cross and it had a QR code in the back. And I was like, okay, let me try this. And it took me to the donation page. And I know that the technology is going to get there for the small organizations where I could do that today. You know,
Hmm.
like I can literally flash up a QR code printed from my printer right here
Yeah.
on the live screen. We know that people are mainly engaging things like this on their laptop, right? They're not actually using their mobile phone to sit there and
Right.
watch it. That means that this here
Mhm.
is open for
Yeah.
usage. How can you think about the experience there? So I feel that we're going to
Mhm.
get more omni-channel, even for small shops. Small size shops are going to get more connected
Mhm.
with the tools, that the successful ones.
Mhm.
Um, and overall, I feel that we're going to see a continued healthy growth in small dollar donors because people are generous. And even the research that we did, that we presented on earlier this year for AFP Icon during pandemic giving, we our partners at Powered By and us looked at transactions that happened during the surge,
Mhm.
and we found that there was not a correlation between COVID spikes because we looked at health data overlaid
Mhm.
geographically with transaction data. Cool. And so, I mean, I think it's cool. Somebody else might be like, that's creepy. But there was no correlation between spikes and giving, meaning if there was an emergency situation, it didn't necessarily, like New York did
Right.
not see
Yeah.
anything driven up, which means
Mhm.
that people are generous or generous or generous.
Right.
That's what that means. So, Rebecca, I would say that the way that you get to that generosity, though, is collaboration
Mhm.
and gratitude. Make sure that you think about your communication strategy to do it from a point of being thankful for those people.
Effusive, effusive. You cannot thank someone once more if too effusively.
Yeah,
Like you just can't. It's gotta reinforce the good feeling that donor had, that endorphin or dopamine hit that they got when they
exactly.
placed that gift in the first place.
If
The
have
thank
you
you has to like make that
have
bloom
you
even
read? I got books everywhere, folks. If you just want to, like, I got. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like that.
more. You're that
What's that?
guy.
What's that Macaulay Culkin movie? The where he was in the library.
I only know Home Alone. I'm sorry.
Okay, well there you go. Whatever. That's what I am. Hooked on a Feeling. Great
Okay,
book. Great book
good.
on donor experience and kind of that dopamine element. How long are
So
we doing this for? Because
we're gonna wrap it up, man. Like we usually go for about 25 to 30 minutes.
oh,
And
I'm sorry. Okay.
no, 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 no. This is great. This is great. So communication,
Yeah.
collaboration,
Yeah.
sustainers. Think about post end of year
Yeah.
when you're planning your end of year,
Hmm.
and generosity exchange, right? You're going to get some really great ideas if you're just starting to make your plan or think about tweaking last year's. October 13th and 14th.
Yep.
There's going to be a whole sustainer session with a mutual friend of ours, Erica Wasdorp of A Direct Solution. She is the queen of monthly giving. Any last tips as we go out the door for today, Tim?
I would say that just get a secret shopper friend of yours to test out the end-to-end experience of receiving an email from you and trying to donate online.
Mm-hmm.
Have
Yep.
them write down how many steps it takes and how frustrated that they may get, and then address those. That's one of the easiest quick tech things that you can do, because I go to websites and it says donate now, and then it takes me to a landing page, and that landing page has 4 different options for me to click, and then I donate again, and then I hit again and again, and it's like 12 steps to actually. And actually, the some of the data that I've seen, I remember at Giving Institute, this was cited. The average online donation in our sector takes 8 minutes.
That's disgusting. I
It's
don't want to. I
disgusting.
don't want to end on that note. So the
No.
thing I say is that you can certainly send somebody to a ways to give page,
Yeah,
but anything that says donate needs to go directly to the
direct.
donation form, whether it's in an email message, on social media posts, or in the beautiful upper right hand corner of your website. That action word donate has got to take you right to a
Right to
place
the
where the
page.
person can take
That's
an
the
action.
simplest thing that you can change, and if
Yep.
it's a PayPal button, like,
So be it. Yeah.
so be
So
it.
be it.
But the final thing, and we'll end on a high note. I
Great.
feel that even though we can be lovers of digital yet digital skeptics, I feel that the future on the industry and one of the trends that we're going to see in the coming years that people should be paying attention to that is happening now is the democratization and digitization of traditionally offline channels such as
Yes.
stock giving. We have
Mhm.
we just launched a fantastic integration with Overflow, for instance.
That's cool.
People can donate stock online. They connect their brokerage account. It's a completely different experience. If you try to shove this into your online donation form, it doesn't work. Data is very clear. Giving
Planful.
Tuesday did
That's
that.
right.
So
Planful.
so what you're talking about is you guide the different types of donors toward their preferred method of giving. You get those crypto people, Giving Block's got you covered. We got an integration with them. You got see, this is why we do all this type of stuff, to just be like, you don't have to worry.
Call 999-5222 to get connected to
Look,
Tim. All
my
right, man.
wife yelled at me because I kept buying crypto to keep testing this thing. And
Yeah,
so
you and my partner need to chat just a
I know
little
I own
bit about that, I
Dogecoin.
think. Hmm.
But
Oh yeah,
but
I gotta
but
connect you guys offline. So
so it's a
Tim,
beautiful time for democratization of philanthropy. That's the
mhm,
point I'm trying to say.
and experiment,
Yes.
test, experiment. It doesn't need to be your whole end of year campaign, but try a thing. Try something new for
Rebecca, do
you.
something weird. That's what I'm gonna suggest to you. Do
I'm gonna
one
title this
little thing
video,
weird.
do something weird. Just
Do
mix it
something
up just a little
just
bit. See what happens.
try it up to be like, you know what, I'm gonna order some magnets for 100 people, you
And
know?
just pop them in.
Just pop
Hmm.
them in. And have a QR code with going
Yeah.
to an impact report, not to a donation page. Go to an impact report for that and make that a thing.
So the
So
next chapter of As Tim Sarantonio's Mind Turns, come back
I
next
just
week.
came up with that. I literally just came up with that.
No,
So
that's how good ideas happen. So, Tim, it is always a pleasure, a joy. I wrote 8,000 things down in this
I'm gonna this
conversation.
starts to hurt my head actually. So
Super, super learning opportunity for me as well. Generosity Exchange, link is in the comments. You can also find it link on Neon One's website. And
yes.
then I will see everybody back here live next Friday to talk about another topic that nonprofit accidental techies can use. So, Tim, have a great trip to the Adirondacks, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
See you guys later. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.
Bye everyone.